So, this is the third game of the finals of the 8-Bit Ladder Wars tournament between ZertoN down here in the red as Renegades and iBaWs up here in the blue back as Guardians. This is slightly interesting because iBaWs chose Penguin Paradise again. Neither of these players seemingly realised that that is actually against the rules to play on the same map a second time. However, I'm not sure this is a map that horridly suits either army, either player. It's, people sort of seem to agree it's a pretty good map. It does have a small rush distance, but I'm not expecting to see too much rush from iBaWs here. We'll have to see how it goes, but this match was filled out without any complaints about this game. So there can't have been too much to ZertoN's dissatisfaction about this. And it's interesting to think maybe why iBaWs changed back. Maybe he just has sort of given up on the idea of trying to beat ZertoN at his own game as it was. He's doing the same building pattern as he did last game. And so is ZertoN with this dodgy motor pool here, which is going to make some interesting bugs throughout the game. And so the last game we saw of this matchup between these two players, iBaWs went with a very interesting mass APC strategy, followed with rocket cars and grenade troopers, and not really any more tech for the whole game. I'm expecting not to see that again. I feel like that was sort of a bit of a cheesy thing that he was trying to catch ZertoN off guard with maybe, and not really a standard thing that's going to be pulled out more. ZertoN, I assume, will be going straight into air, but if pressure is put on like last game, he might go into that more motor pool heavy style. Single APC out is entirely usual. We might see one more, but I don't expect to see a mass like last game. Against a player like ZertoN, APCs won't be as valuable as they would be against bad players, but I don't think just making more is the answer. And there we see the first rocket car, which is a good sign. Nice unit spread out on the map from ZertoN. He'll know whenever anything is coming. Nice sneaky scout hidden back here, doing that patrol that iBaWs likes to do. And we can't see anything interesting from the building yet, but very soon we will see whether he goes for a motor pool or not. And iBaWs has gone for this weird triple spike thing. Well, he hasn't built down here, so I guess he's just building backwards, being safe, and gone for that fast radar. This is interesting because I'm not sure what he's really looking for here. He already has his first sniper out here, so if ZertoN is watching that, he will know that he has gone to this late tech. And ZertoN is going to go with the second motor pool, expecting that he will need more tanks to deal with a Guardians player than he would with a Renegades player. And Scorch tanks out here, nice and fast. However, the problem with Scorch tanks and rocket cars is that each of them only deals with one of these types of units. If he's not expecting to get too many APC rundowns because it's ZertoN and you probably won't, he'll have a nice pre-split and he'll control it well during the fight. You really, each of these aren't really going to be that good. I would like to see him move into making Spectres, and he is moving into air drone play. Air drones are pretty strong, it seems. Obviously, I do not know too much about this late style. A lot of the good Guardians players on ladders play much more of a Spectre-heavy style. But from what I do know and what I have seen and tried of this race, heavy drones are incredibly powerful if you can get their numbers up. And starting to build them this early is a good sign. All he needs to do right now should be to hold ZertoN off and then to build enough heavy drones that he will win. And he is pushing this army away, but that's because there is this second part of this army which is actually coming up to attack down here to harass some workers. But this army is now going to get collided on by iBaWs' army, and there's actually very little anti-air in here, so these heavy drones are just going to clear this up with very little damage done. One harvester. This second force is now coming in, and it looks like it's going to push into the main base. ZertoN is just trying to pull iBaWs apart and force him to deal with too many things. He's now backing off from this so these troops can get back in. There are more troops coming up into the main. And he's just trying to snipe down this quickly while the heavy drones are going. This pressure also probably a response to the heavy drones. I would expect to see some more helipads out here, although he doesn't have any yet. He has a lot of ground, and he's seeing this late game unit coming out very early, so he's expecting that he can do a ton of damage because iBaWs has sacrificed having this large ground army in order to get these strong air late game units. He's finally taken out these tanks down here, so he's making some more harvesters. He's only harvesting from 1.5 right now, it looks like 1.5, which is not excellent. Oh, there's one here, 2.5. Okay, although this is going to go down now to a lot of artillery fire unless iBaWs can hold it off. Units streaming across these hills. Looks like half there, 1, 2, 3.5 from ZertoN as well. So ZertoN is ahead in the economy slightly, but this heavy drone number is starting to become good, and heavy drones are good when you get them in that mass. And only rocket infantry to defend them means that the Scorch tanks are going to be useful, because if the Scorch tanks can trim down this number of rocket infantry, then the artillery won't be doing their job. Very interesting. This is a very different style to what a lot of I see a lot of Guardians play, but of course I mostly see Guardians play against Marines, where these would be less useful, I expect. But now a big amount of these heavy drones and very little anti-air coming out from ZertoN, and he's now losing a lot of his tanks, which are unable to shoot up, to this horde of heavy drones. And he has now two helipads, and this one turret here to try and defend them from the edge. And these heavy drones can now come in and just do some devastating things to ZertoN. Payback for all of this damage he's done early, although they are quite slow, and so he doesn't want to get chased too much by these rocket choppers, because they will just pick stuff up. I hope he doesn't stay here, because he's going to take a lot of damage from trying to do this. And yeah, he does thinks wiser of that and backs off. But all this time while home, there should be more coming out. Not too many more, because he did have some hit to his economy, and so he has had to slow down in production. But he is using this this swarm of heavy drones nicely to hold ZertoN back. And ZertoN is unpowered now as well. He just got power back, so he can start making units again. Mainly snipers in this ground force, so he doesn't have much of a tank line at the start of this. He is getting some infantry, but some artillery even, but do remember that the Guardian infantry does siege damage, and so is not as useful in a fight like this as the Renegade artillery might be. Although siege damage, I guess, will be better than light damage for killing that, so maybe Carnage's balanced proposal should go through, but we'll have to see what happens in this game, because this ground army versus ground army is looking very in favour for ZertoN. But there are a lot of heavy drones here, and with heavy drones coming in the back as well, heavy drones having that good attack versus infantry and versus tanks is going to mean that they're in these numbers definitely going to be able to hold off this small amount of rocket troopers even, and then they're going to be able to start doing damage. And even some light drones out now. He knows if ZertoN has sort of this clumped small amount of helicopters, he can do a lot with that. Light drones actually just sort of sitting there, but there's no air for them to take really now. These choppers are trying to go back to this point. And this immense ground army by ZertoN really isn't helping him that much, because he's just trying to get back to these snipers that are just sitting under this huge swarm of heavy drones. Maybe huge is a bit too big of a word for how many heavy drones there are, but there's a lot of them, considering these are a strong late game unit. You know, they're called heavy drones for a reason. They are very much the air equivalent of the heavy tanks. And ZertoN has held off this attack from his ground and is pushing in very hard here. He's managed to crush a lot of these snipers and push them back. Has even managed to do some damage up here with those tanks. Lots of siege artillery now though, so if iBaWs does hold off, which it looks like he has been able to, he's going to be able to waste these buildings very quickly. These defensive turrets that ZertoN has been pushing up, absolutely no use versus these siege artillery. And there, the helipad numbers being kept down, so he's on 3 helipads here, not being able to make enough choppers. He has less choppers than the heavy drones, and there could be light drones. And look how many light drones! Like, that was all, like, right then, from all of these airpads, you can get so many. And it doesn't look like the hits were too good there on the choppers. They killed a couple of choppers there and got a bit of damage, but there are 4 more to try and do some hits. And all 4 of them suicided on 1 chopper there. Not the smartest things, light drones, not the smartest things. But he is just making some more. Look how quickly they come up. That is literally the gap between them as they come out of the helipad. That is incredible. And then a couple of them now coming out of there to defend this air harass over there, which I believe was just 1 or 2 helicopters. And now this incredible range from the siege artillery. Look at that. That is ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, he shouldn't have attacked there. That was sort of a misplay from iBaWs. I think he can use this siege artillery as he's doing to kill these turrets. And once the turrets aren't there, there is no longer a huge defender's advantage for ZertoN. He is getting up to more choppers now, but he is now significantly behind in this game. iBaWs' economy is chipping along decently with a couple of points mining across the map. Oh, we get to see a couple of explosions there. That was a couple of light drones taking out a couple of choppers. And these heavy drones just absolutely worth the investment, it seems, in this game. These poor snipers are going to be chased down though. They are not as fast as the rest of their army. Oh, iBaWs is really aggressively pushing over the map now, trying to make sure that he has resources. Taking these resources that are closer to ZertoN is a double investment as well, because it means that ZertoN will have less places late game to put his own resources. Some long distance mining going on there from ZertoN, which iBaWs is going to shut down. And iBaWs, with his siege infantry and all these heavy drones now doing a ton of damage, ZertoN is moving up the side, but he's going to come up here to be disappointed with only a few buildings up here to kill. And iBaWs is just rushing through. There are rocket helicopters on the other side, but they're going to get cleared up here by some light drones. Yeah, with no micro there, light drones do become very effective. And this is just a very bad spot for ZertoN. Light drones, unfortunately, not going to be a huge use here. Just going to tank a couple of rocket infantry shots. But in a base race, this army is going to do a lot better. Siege artillery kill buildings incredibly quickly, and heavy drones are an incredibly powerful force late game. And over here we have, again, the interesting light drones just tanking shots. Some heavy drones being made over here, though, to start actually doing some damage. And almost all of ZertoN's buildings has been cleared out. Just these 3 left. And this looks like this will be I believe, only the 2nd loss for ZertoN in this whole tournament. So very well done to iBaWs here. He went straight for that late game. He managed to just hold off ZertoN's powerful early aggression. And ZertoN's out. We have a series here, boys.